Hi, and thank you for joining me on Legal Tuesdays. I am Monica Miller, the Legal Director and Senior Counsel here at the American Humanist Association. And as you know, on this series, I answer your questions about separation of church and state that you've asked for us on our social media platforms or through our online complaint form. The question I will take today is somewhat of a repeat question, and I'm actually going to pose it because several of you have asked this repeat question in different iterations in the last couple months. So no reason we can't refresh our memories about what this law is. And some of you are probably new to this series, and I don't expect people to go back to old episodes and try to figure out what I said about, if you have a question about something. So this one is about In God We Trust. And the person says, are you aware of the In God We Trust motto emblazoned above the dais of the Anaheim City Council and is visible on all live streams and many photos of the council? How do we challenge such an in-your-face declaration that says you must believe in God in order to be considered a city resident or council member? Unfortunately, these In God We Trust motto, first of all, it's our national motto. It was added in the 1950s along with other sort of McCarthy era anti-atheist bills. That's when we had Under God inserted into the pledge, and the motto In God We Trust put on our currency and made into the motto. There was another one. I don't know why I'm blanking. But the bottom line is, unfortunately, back in 2004, Michael Newdow, an attorney that I actually worked for when I was in law school as a volunteer, he challenged In God We Trust. He has challenged In God We Trust and is continuing to do so, but unfortunately unsuccessfully. But he challenged Under God in the Pledge of Allegiance. At one point, he had won his case in the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, but then when he got up to the Supreme Court, they kicked him out on standing grounds, which is a concept that they said basically you are not the right person to bring this case, which was for its own reasons wrong. But in that decision, although he was not challenging the motto In God We Trust, it was Under God. It was part of that same time period, and in that case, with the Supreme Court being a lot better than it is today, even then you had even progressive justices writing in passing that they didn't think that there was anything wrong with the language because they said it was, God doesn't have to be religious. Through rote repetition of this phrase, it really becomes sort of meaningless. So you have half the justices sort of saying, or a couple justices saying that God in these patriotic remarks doesn't mean anything. It's meaningless, which doesn't do religion any good. And then you had several justices saying, the conservative ones, the Scalia, Rehnquist type, that God is, or at least this is what they've written in other opinions, that God is, we are a nation under God, and this is reflective of that, and it's part of our history, which is not true. God is not in our Constitution. We are a nation that separates religion and theism. But the bottom line is we can't do anything about these Under God or In God We Trust signs right now. It's really unfortunate, but there's just no way a challenge would be successful in this current Supreme Court, and that's probably where one of these cases would land. So it would be a bad strategy to bring a case, but that doesn't mean there won't be a future time to challenge this, and that doesn't mean you can't make your voice heard now. So what we're encouraging folks to do at the local level especially is to voice your opposition, try to do so in writing, maybe make a petition, maybe, encourage them to also adopt a sign that says In Reason We Trust and make that a thing. So sorry that we can't do more, but I am happy to educate and keep folks abreast. That's not to say there won't be instances where that same motto, say in a school setting, could be found problematic. Unfortunately, in the adult legislative setting, we can't, our hands are tied right now. That's all for today, but I look forward to talking to you on the next series of Legal Tuesdays.